Oh my lord. After this episode of My Hero Academia, there is so much to talk about. We got Bakugo and Shigaraki fight. We got Endeavor and All for One fight. And that's not even going into the fact that, hey, a brand new opening and a brand new closing, which we'll definitely have to discuss here in a minute. But first things first, there was so much that happened in this episode. So much fighting, so much battling, so much internal monologues that we're gonna sit back, relax, and we're definitely gonna try to dissect this stuff. So make sure you guys hit that follow button, make sure you guys are liking the video, and make sure you guys are subscribed, because we'll definitely have to break this one down. So first things first, Endeavor. I still say Endeavor's a joke of a character, but he's gone through a lot, and he's trying to be an okay person. We see here how he talks about how he's just trying to pave the way for a path for the future. He knows that his time is coming and that he must do all that he can to get rid of the villains, to get rid of the mistakes that he can, to carve a path for the future generation. So this man right here, I will give it up to him that he is definitely trying to give his all as he's going for All for One here. I can't believe he lost an arm. To me, him getting attacked in the side was less significant in the fact that he lost his main dominant arm in the middle of the fight, and he's like, as he's fighting, like, oops, don't need that anymore. And it's like, I'm just gonna use fire. They're like, excuse me? You can manifest an arm with fire? Well, why couldn't you do that before? How about manifesting a sword? Manifesting something other than just a fist? But yes, we can sit here and be like, okay, you know what? He's got that determination. He's got that dog in him now. So, things are different. Him losing an arm, he's like, don't care, still gonna try to attack All for One in whatever means necessary. Like, he straight up is I say laser beams loosely, but firing fire, heat from his eyes. We have not seen him do that, and just to stop All for One from grabbing him. One of the biggest things that happened in this fight, when he was grabbing All for One and bringing him into the sky so he could do his prominence burn, it definitely reminded me of, for those DBC fans, it definitely reminded me of Vegeta's Final Atonement, when Vegeta is sacrificing himself to get rid of Boo. And just like in that fight, and just like in that moment, it did absolutely nothing. And here it is, Endeavor thinks he's done something. Endeavor thinks he's absolutely finally taken out All for One, and All for One's like, excuse me, is it only you heroes that get, when you're wounded, you fight back harder? I have an ace up my sleeve as well. So we saw Eerie there. We saw that it looks like he's growing his face back, because not only did he get his ear back, but he also got his eye back. So it looks like somehow he's healing. As he said, he's abandoning this body so he can be more reckless. So I don't necessarily know how Eerie's power is able to get him to grow everything once again, because the shot from Eerie is supposed to kind of take away powers or bring them to a state before someone had powers. So I don't see how All for One is growing back body parts from quote unquote losing powers. So we'll see how that actually turns out next episode. It'll probably explain a little bit more about it. But the Endeavor fight definitely was a good one. And not to nitpick, okay? I don't want to be that guy to nitpick an episode, be like, that doesn't seem right. Two things happened this episode that I was like, this doesn't feel right. And I'm just going to bring them up real quickly So then that way we can have a discussion. Someone can clarify maybe in the comments, or maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just, being a little nitpicky about it, but I just have two things that I was like, that's awfully convenient. If you carefully look at this laser blast as it's being fired, if you carefully look at these two heroes, Jiro and Tsukuyomi, they're flying in the sky while the laser beam is coming after them, and they fly over to the left here. Why is her left ear the one that's actually deleted? If the laser beam came out forward and they're veering, it technically should be her right ear the one that got hit. As she's veering and then they fly away over to the side, it's opposite. They went this way from the picture here. So technically the other ear is the one that should be hit. Anyway, like I said, it might have been the way that it was drawn. Maybe it might have been the angle that they were flying. Like I said, it's a little nitpicky. It was just something that I kind of observed, like, that's a little weird, but whatever. And secondly, isn't it quite convenient that his quirks are rebelling against him at this moment in time? Like, it was just this specific moment. Whenever he's in the middle of a fight, he says he has copies. He doesn't have the originals. So, of course, that makes it seem like he has placed the original of these quirks into his protege. So he has copies for this body, as he said in the future, that, okay, this body I don't mind rejecting. Okay, now they are rebelling against him. Now, granted, it could be stated that, earphone jack's ability is interfering with his ability to control his quirks at the moment, because he has to rely on sensory quirks, and she kind of messed that up a little bit. It could be stated in that way, but I just found it like, if you kind of reread what he is saying, I thought at first he was saying that it was because of her attack and his sensory that they're rebelling. But I reread his lines and he's saying that, oh, why are they rebelling now? That's a little weird. And, oh, maybe it's because I have copies and not the original. So I'm like, huh, that's convenient. And that's convenient for the hero, so then they can get the upper hand. But as we know, technically by the end of this, the heroes are the one getting the L, while the enemies are kind of getting the W, because they are not dead yet. Now, let's move on to the second fight. Here we got Bakugo and Shigaraki, and Lord, I don't know about you guys, but this fight reminded me of Ichigo versus Aizen fight, where Ichigo, theme song and everything, is about to slash Aizen, and Aizen with one finger is like, nope, and cuts the song off and everything. Straight up, here's the moment, here's the growth, if you will. Bakugo has this new Panzer tank things on his shoulder, and it's straight up, everyone's like, yeah, go Bakugo, go Murder God Dynamite. And even as Vegeta say his full name, and everyone's like, yeah, good guys, let's do it. And Shigaraki's like, yeah, about all that, this arm is mine now, crack. And if you look at their faces, Shigaraki has half his face blown off, and even Bakugo, half his mask is gone, where the other half of his face is bloody and such. So they definitely had a big explosion, if you will, together. It was nice at the time, backstory, recollection of his growth. We're having, theme song level music playing. We're like, yes, go for it, Bakugo. And then it's like, nope. So this fight, definitely, I got a feel for Bakugo, because he thought he was him. He thought he was him. He thought he was like, all right, I got this explosion. I'm going to get rid of these hands. Oh, no big deal. Let's all press on. Character growth. It is no longer about me. It's about the team. Let's do this. And Shigaraki was like, yeah, screw you and your growth. Give me the main character, MC Deku. Why isn't he here? Let's just do this. So yeah, that kind of broke the spirit there. Poor Bakugo, I kind of feel for him because he thought he had main character energy, and Shigaraki just made him remember, yeah, you're not the main character, my guy. It's not you. You are not him. So he throws him aside. I will have to say the preview though for next week's episode kind of sneaked the fact that it looks Lemillion's coming back. And so it's going to be actually pretty cool to see Lemillion, the big three, if you will, from UA coming back, and maybe they can do something. We shall see. More than likely, they're going to be another Band-Aid until Deku shows up, and then all hell's going to break loose. Now, a lot more did happen in this episode. For example, the guys that don't have powers are documenting what could happen in the future as far as a testament when they do win, quote unquote. And I'm going to kind of leave that to the side because I think there's a couple more minutes I could take on that. But we got a new opening and new closing that we need to dissect. And for someone that hasn't, like, I have not read the manga. I've read the manga up to the point where the reveal of the spy, and I don't know anything further, but I will have to say this theme song seemed like it gave spoilers, but it's actually pretty cool. Now, I was surprised that there was a new theme song because normally your theme song, if there's going to be a first, second cur type deal, normally your new theme song's on episode 12, you know, episode 12, episode 13, somewhere around there. But that's only if it's 24 episodes long. I've looked into it, and this season seems to be about 21 episodes. So the fact that we're on episode 10, okay, that does make sense that we got a new theme song, a new ending. But I will have to say that I personally, off of just seeing it one time, I already liked the theme song and the ending better than the first half of the season. So let's break down a little bit of the theme song as far as what I observed as someone that hasn't read the manga. I don't know exactly what are the spoilers, but we shall see. So here's your warning, spoiler warning, because even though we're going to dissect this, I'm going to give my thoughts about it. And as someone that hasn't read the manga, I don't know if it's true or not, but I just want to give that warning beforehand. Personally, I think it's inevitable that Deku is going to meet up with Shigaraki. And I'm going to say this now. I'm hoping that this is not going to be a Naruto talk no jutsu moment. Like, I believe they're going to talk. I believe they're going to resonate because, you know, we got the antagonist pro-tag moment here. So there's going to be some level of talking here, of course, with some level of fighting. But I'm hoping it's not necessarily going to be all talk and not necessarily a whole lot of fighting, because Deku will be like, oh, we resonate, you know, come on, come over to the good side. That inner child of yours is still in there. And then that's how the series ends. But we shall see how it turns out. So far as for the main theme at the beginning of it, there was a lot of correlation that I guess because here we are in season 7, there's a lot of relationship of like, here's the character now and how they grew up to this path. So we saw All For One, and of course him being the bad guy, how he got to the no face, how, you know, All Might, of course, used to be super strong and now he's his weaker self because he can't transform anymore. And then we get the actual villain's characters like, oh, this is what they were as a child, and they've grown up to be this special of a hero or slash villain. So nothing really spoilery yet. So a few images here that I noticed in the theme song. One, this forearmed guy, you know, one of the students, it seems like they're going to talk a lot more about him. I wonder if he's going to be the one that's going to be fighting against the lizard guy, that one that, of course, that looks up to Stain, because he also is technically a character that, you know, is not totally human looking. So I wonder if they resonate with each other. But then also there's quite a few images that actually kind of quickly show here that I'm like, is this kind of spoiler-like? Like, we get Lemillion here, which we kind of, you know, knew Lemillion's going to show up at some point, even showed it in the preview for next week's episode. We got this guy that used to be a hero but quit. So I'm wondering if he's going to show up. Maybe he's in the floating fortress helping out in some way. And I thought about him previously, like, okay, he quit, but in the final battle, it wouldn't surprise me if they enlist his services to help out, because technically this is the final battle. So the fact that he shows up here at all in the theme song makes me believe, okay, he may make an appearance at some point. Now, if you carefully take a look here in the background, you can see the portal. As we see, of course, Twice's Sad Man's Parade ability, which of course we know Twice is dead. So that leads me to believe that Toya is going to take that blood sample that she has in order to use Sad Man's Parade's ability, and which is gonna definitely be an issue, which is the whole reason why Twice was taken out / assassinated, because that ability alone is quite strong to make an army of yourself anywhere. So I wonder how that's gonna pan out. This here, you can see the chipped sword, but it's hard to make out, but I'm pretty sure this is Stain here, which if Stain shows up at any point anywhere, which he's still out there, so it would not surprise me if Stain makes an appearance, probably going to show up to the villain that looks up to him. And it would not surprise me that he sacrifices himself in some way, as if he's trying to atone and or do almost like an All Might type deal, where he's like, hey, you know, he's a villain, but of course he looks up to All Might if he does some type of hero ability. If I was a writer, I probably would have that happen, to where he sacrifices himself as a final atonement for all the sins he's done, and then of course also what he looks forward to in All Might. We'll see if what actually happens though, but I'm pretty sure he's going to make an appearance. Now here it shows a lot of images of the students and their respective battles in different areas. As you can see here, Uraraka and Toya are like flying in the sky. I really do believe, if you notice her clothing, Toya's clothing is kind of ripped up and such, so I imagine their battle is going to be absolutely crazy. And I fully believe that she's going to use Twice's Sad Man's Parade ability in the midst of all of this. So I wonder how this is actually going to pan out. It looks like in this regard, it shows them floating in the sky. So I wonder if they use this moment to talk it out. I don't think Toya's going to die. I don't get the sense right now that she's going to quote unquote die. I think though there's going to be a lot of discussion between her and Uraraka. Maybe they become friends, quote unquote, in some regard, but I'm not getting red flags, death flags from her yet. We'll see how their battle pans out as time goes on, but I do believe that they would not have brought up the fact that she can use Twice's blood if she wasn't going to use it at some point. And of course, we already know about this battle with Bakugo and his brother. And honestly, this has already been resolved, but it's pretty cool that they still added this into the theme song. And a kind of spoilery moment, it kind of shows Deku showing up on the scene with Shigaraki as he punches into the ground. Now, granted, we know that this is gonna happen. You know, we do know at some point it's gonna happen, but it's just kind of like, okay, I mean, is it a spoiler? If we know something's gonna happen, is it truly a spoiler? I don't know. Technically, it would be, but whatever. They added it in, it's fine. And it kind of, the main theme song pretty much ends with the fact that he's running to the future, running to his friends, kind of the running thing. I mean, it happens in a lot of different anime openings where you have your main protagonist is running, you know, symbolizes a lot of different things. So it's kind of like, okay, all right, whatever, don't matter. But I will say the actual music was pretty sick. Now on to the ending song. There's some serious spoilers in there. Now, for one, this scene in the ending song, of course, the whole theme of the ending song is showing how they're kind of sinking into water and reflecting and all that. But Invisible Girl, they literally just show the whole image of the Invisible Girl and what she looks like normally. And it's like, okay, I was not expecting that image to show up. But if you carefully look at this panel as it's showing all the characters, you'll see that it's showing who's clashing with who and who's teamed up with who. Like, you see that these two, like I mentioned earlier, how there will probably be a fight between them because they're both you know, kind non-human, like humanoid, but, you know, appearance-wise, maybe looking a little weird to the natural person. So I envision like, okay, they're probably gonna fight. But this pretty much confirms it. Like, oh yeah, there's gonna be a battle between them. We already know about the battle between them. So it's showing all the characters and who they're gonna conflict with or team up with. And it's like, well, thanks for letting me know, you know, what's gonna happen in future episodes, but all right, sure. Now, like I've been saying, we know the inevitable talk of Deku and Shigaraki, and of course, there's a lot of panels showing them descending together. The only thing that I don't know about is this other scene. Somebody is walking on water, and they don't have any clothes on. It made me think that it was the Invisible Girl, but I don't know whose bare feet this is. So I don't know if this is symbolic to anything. Like, you know, everyone's kind of descending into the water, but then there's someone walking on the water. So I'm like, who is that? And like I said, Invisible Girl is the only one that I know of that is without clothes because she's invisible. And they shown her without clothes as they showed her side panel face. So I'm like, that's a little weird, but okay, you know, maybe it's just symbolic. Maybe they just wanted to show someone walking on water type deal, but I don't know if this is going to be a spoiler for the future for a certain character. You know, maybe someone's going to die walking on water, you know, some type of symbolicism there. But if I had known who it is, I'd be like, oh yeah, maybe they are going to die. I don't know. But pretty much this is about it as far as it's concerned. I hope you guys, I know this is probably a longer video than normal, but you know, I enjoy breaking this stuff down and kind of piecing it together because you're more likely not going to find anybody else on YouTube going this hard into trying to decipher this stuff, especially when they have no idea what's about to happen and I have no clue. So definitely make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed because we'll definitely go over this and several other anime here on the channel. You guys be safe, enjoy yourself, and Lord willing, I will see you next time. Bye for now.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.